You're listening to Errol Parker and Clancy Overall, editors of the Betoota Advocate, on Desert Rock FM. Welcome to what you thought may be the weekly Betoota Bulletin. It's Clancy Overall here, and I'm here to tell you that it is not. Today, we're going to give you a little taste of a new podcast series the Betoota Advocate's been working on, featuring our very own Effie Bateman and Wendell Hussey. It's called The Show Off. Now, this is the first episode. We're giving you a taste of it here today. Betoota Advocates making inroads into the world of pop culture. So we're talking about all kinds of things in The Show Off. A bit more of a youthful spin. And these kids are obviously keeping a closer eye on what's happening in the world of entertainment, news, and of course the greater cultural zeitgeist. So please tune in, listen to The Show Off, like, follow, and subscribe, and tell your friends.
This is The Show Off.
It's the collab you didn't know you needed.
The unholy union of two powerhouses of Australian media.
Pedestrian and the Betoota Advocate.
Taking a savage swipe at the week in entertainment news.
Anything you've missed?
And everything people give a shit about.
I'm Josie Rosenberg-Clark, Head of Editorial at Pedestrian.
I'm Effie Bateman, Lifestyle and Entertainment Reporter at the Betoota Advocate.
And I'm Wendell Hussey, Sports Reporter at the Betoota Advocate and the token bloke of this podcast. Today on The Show Off, we're talking about Kanye West suddenly liking Jewish people again for what I'm sure is a perfectly logical reason.
We don't want him.
US Congress members getting confused about TikTok and Wi-Fi and how it all works. T-Swizzle, rumoured to be coming back down under, and what that means for the MCG turf. And nerds like you, Effie Bateman, are getting very excited about the Dungeons & Dragons movie which is coming out.
Yep, I'm very excited to see it.
And to wrap things up, we're going to talk about Harry Styles kissing like a shit-faced 14-year-old, which you're not excited about, Josie Rosenberg-Clark.
Quietly devastated over here.
Fair enough. Big show.
I'm excited. Let's get into it.
Hey, Wendell and Effie, thanks so much for making it all the way down from Betoota to Sydney to record this podcast. How was your trip?
Really good. It's always a pleasure. We love being down here in our least favourite city in Australia, back in Sydney. Good to be down here. Jetstar cancelled on us last minute, as they normally do.
It was like 10 minutes to boarding as well.
Yeah,
Half the people are already on the plane.
Mechanical issue. But anyway, we got Rex, and that's the editor Clancy Overall's problem because it was his credit card paying for those flights. But we're here now, and there's plenty to talk about.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. We've got a big week to wrap up.
Let's get into it. Now, we want to kick off today with Kanye West, who's a noted historian, and he's come out and announced that he no longer hates Jewish people.
So this week I wrote about this on Betoota, an article titled, "History Comes Full Circle as Art Yet Again Has a Profound Effect on an Anti-Semite." Kanye West has had a very long history of saying a lot of cooked things, in particular a lot of anti-Semitic remarks, though it has ramped up in the past couple of years, including saying he's going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people and even making remarks so fucked up that shock jock Alex Jones was shocked.
Pretty impressive.
Oh my goodness. Just because you don't like one group doesn't mean the other. But look, it's
I
fine.
love Jewish people, but I also love Nazis.
Oh, good.
Oh man. Well, I have to disagree with that. But listen, we're gonna go to break. I'm the crazy one here. We're all crazy. The whole world's crazy.
But now Kanye has decided that he actually likes Jewish people.
Oh, so sweet of him. He's a real humanitarian, old Kanye.
So, piece of art, changed his mind, completely went 180 on all of his opinions about Jewish people. What do you guys think that could have been?
We talking a Holocaust doco, maybe?
No.
The Diary of Anne Frank.
Schindler's List?
You know what? You're really close.
The Pianist?
No.
Adrian Brody?
No,
yes.
no. It was 21 Jump Street.
Classic Jewish history film.
Yeah.
Completely understandable that he's now pivoted after watching that.
So he posted this to Instagram next to a poster for the 2012 film. It was a really weird poster. I feel like it was like the finished version of the poster.
Like a fan art?
Yeah, it was just a weird, I don't know where he found it. But he said, "Watching Jonah Hill in 21 Jump Street made me like Jewish people again.
Oh my God.
No one should take anger against one or two individuals and transform that into hatred towards millions of innocent people. No Christian can be labelled an anti-Semite knowing Jesus is Jew." He went on adding, "Thank you, Jonah Hill. I love you."
This This man is unwell.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of been well documented around that whole thing. But one question that springs to mind straight up after this is how has it taken him 11 years to watch 21 Jump Street?
One of the greatest movies of all time, I think we can agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. But it's also, does Jonah Hill mention being Jewish once in that movie? Like that's not really like the canon of 21 Jump Street. Like I don't understand why that prompted this response.
Yeah, I think there's like an offhand comment that he's Jewish and
that was the moment
Yeah.
for Kanye.
yeah.
I do wonder if there's a little bit of trolling going on here with Ye.
Yeah.
If he's just stirring people up. And obviously we spoke about how he might not be particularly well. I do wonder how much 21 Jump Street has actually brought him around. As much as I love the idea of 21 Jump Street bringing him around.
And Jonah Hill being that, bringer of peace, between Kanye West and Jewish people around the
Nobel
world.
Peace Prize.
Yeah, I reckon.
Surely he's up.
Who else would be this year? I mean,
Has
who
he
else has
responded
done
to it?
anything?
Has he said anything? Jonah Hill, by the way?
I don't think so, no. But one of the directors responded on Instagram next to a screenshot of West Post with the caption, thanks for watching.
Question
Yeah.
mark?
Question mark.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Or not the ...
No, yeah, just
the
a
question mark. Yeah, the confused.
Perfect, like passive aggressive king answer.
Yeah.
Love that from him. Now, next up, and we're going to talk about the rumours that T Swizzle is the next pop star to destroy the turf at the MCG. Josie, lots of eye rolls there for me saying T Swizzle. Isn't that her name?
Stop trying to make T Swizzle happen. You've said it 3 times now. That's not. No, that's
T
like
Swizzle's a thing.
That's
but
a
she's coming down
2012
under.
thing to call her. I think.
Well, I mean, maybe that's my baseline.
That's
of
like-
Next
T
you'll be
Swizzle.
like, girl gang,
Go gang strong.
and
Get
I'll have
it.
to kill you.
Slay.
But yes, last week in the US, Taylor kicked off her Eras tour. It's highly anticipated. Basically, if you're not a T Swiftie, then you won't know about it. But it's revisiting all the eras of her career. So it's this huge tour, and we now know from people that have actually gone to see it what the set list is. 44 songs. 44. It's like 3 and a bit hours long. And thanks to people posting all this, I've already worked out 2 points where I will go and pee and get an overpriced wine from the stadium bar. So like shout out to those TikTokers doing the work over there. But basically everyone is hyped. Like we want her to come to Australia. She's been here plenty of times before. She doesn't ignore Australia. She loves us. But we're waiting for that announcement, and it's coming. It's in the impending stage, and there's plenty of insider goss dropping. So last week, Pedestrian reported someone who claims to work at the MCG leaked deets about Taylor Swift's Australian Eras tour. Basically, this anonymous source told Dumois, as you know, they're the gossip fiends. I don't know if you know, Wendell,
Vaguely.
but they're the gossip fiends.
They wouldn't call her T Swizzle.
And said dates have been booked for the MCG, and then someone sent a DM to the Shameless podcast saying they work for the MCG and that those dates are booked, and she's playing 2 shows there. So I'm actually going to throw to you, Wendell,
Yep.
because this relates to your area of expertise,
It
sport.
certainly does, yeah. That's why it piqued my interest, because you may or may not be aware, but there's been a little bit of hoo-ha down in Melbourne, and it's actually spread to Perth as well.
Oh.
Ed Sheeran, been in town recently, been playing a bunch of shows, played on the MCG. They had, I think, 110,000 in there, one of the biggest ever shows, and the turf got destroyed. Then a
Ruined.
couple...
And not the way you want your turf destroyed. Am I like...
By Ed Sheeran.
I feel like he kind of redeemed himself with cricket people because of his close friendship with Shane Warne, and now he's
Yep.
fucked up their
Well,
turf.
he's fucked it up with the AFL people.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
a
okay.
couple of Geelong Cats players went down with injuries,
Is- do you
which
reckon
is
they
nothing to do
use
with the
that as
fact
an
it's
excuse?
round 1 and maybe they've had a grueling pre-season.
Hmm.
They reckon it's because the turf was slippery and they're blaming it on Ed Sheeran and they're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's always pretty hard to tell when someone's knees are going, whether that's turf related or that's just
Yeah.
something you can't avoid. But Perth, they reckon there's concerns about the turf over in Perth.
the
as well.
turf over
The turf in Perth is under scrutiny, and just a
But
quick
what is it
side
worth?
note, worth a lot. And it was interesting that the organisers over there said that if the turf was unsafe, they would move games and cancel games, which is a really interesting thing when you've got 40,000 people packing into a stadium to
Turf
watch
wars.
the team play. They're just going to go, oh, sorry, we're going to
Yeah.
push
and a
back
lot of
week.
money riding on those games
Yeah.
and those telecasts.
Yeah.
I watch footy shows,
Yep.
and I can confirm old white men have dedicated 15-minute segments to talking about how fucked up the turf was
Yep.
from the Ed Sheeran shows.
Well, the old white guys, they own the MCG, right? That's their venue. And sure,
they live there.
they might sell out concerts and people might come, but that is the home of the AFL, and that's where AFL players play. So a couple of guys going down with knee injuries. Not good enough, and now they're going to bring T-Swizz back, but it
T-Swizz?
might be...
That's even worse.
I'm just going to keep going with it. I'm just going to keep pushing back, But they reckon it might be February.
Yes.
So it gives it a little bit earlier of a run-in. and a lead-in.
Pre-season.
She hasn't been out here for a while, I don't believe. She was supposed to come for the Melbourne Cup a couple of years ago, remember?
I felt like that was really weird.
It was extremely strange. She was coming out to the Melbourne Cup to play 3 songs on her only Australian show,
Yeah.
and then she pulled the plug because of, I believe it was publicity commitments, but there were also people claiming that it was a nup to the Cup.
Yeah. But I think people would have been like, Taylor, that's not it. Animal
Yeah.
cruelty and gambling. No, honey. Not for your first appearance in God knows how long.
Yeah.
Last time here, it was 2018, Reputation Tour. I went. It was amazing. Bring on eras is all I could say.
That's a Lord of the Rings length show, by the way. And it sounds like with all the costume changes and everything as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully someone's up for an Oscar there. But.
Yeah.
Now, I also hear on the grapevine that Queen Bey, Beyonce, has announced a world tour, but we're not on the destination list.
Not yet. It's Queen Bee,
Queen Bee.
but we're not. No.
I think it's this shoey shit, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is enough to deter, because Beyonce is classy, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually wondering, like, what's going to happen with T-Swizzle. If she's
Oh,
going to
not
be
you as well.
if she's going to be doing a shoey. But I think that's enough. Like, maybe Beyonce won't come here. Maybe she knows better.
Who would have the nerve to ask Beyonce to do a shoey?
We would. I swear
Surely.
it will happen. It will happen.
Next up, and we are going to talk about something I've been looking forward to talking about. It's very humorous, very entertaining. The United States Congress, the Parliament over there in the US of A, they've had some serious issues understanding how TikTok works this week, Effie.
Yes, so aside from the Kanye post, this is probably the funniest shit I have seen all week. So this week, Batuta reported, congressman who thinks the amount of dancing children on TikTok is disgusting, clearly unsure how algorithms work.
That's genuinely funny.
And it's also a little bit disturbing.
Yeah.
So quick backstory, the US government has had issues with TikTok for years in regards to concerns about data security, because for some reason that's the only social media platform they're concerned about. So former President Donald Trump attempted to ban the app back in 2020, but it failed after it was rejected by US courts. And just a few weeks ago, the White House banned the app on government devices along with other countries like Canada and recently UK. And now the US government has threatened to ban TikTok if the Chinese owners don't agree to sell ByteDance, which is a company that manages TikTok. And this has resulted in some hilarious videos with Congress members and potentially the most patient man ever. The CEO of TikTok shows the chew, and we have some clips.
TikTok access the home Wi-Fi network.
Has ByteDance spied on American citizens?
I don't think the spying is the right way to describe it. The only face data that you get, that we collect, is when you use the filters to have, say, sunglasses on your face. We need to know where your eyes are. And
Why
that-
do you need to know what the eyes are if you're not seeing if they're dilated?
American data stored on American soil by an American company, overseen by American personnel. We call this initiative Project Texas.
Please rename your project. Texas is not the appropriate name. We stand for freedom and transparency, and we don't want your project.
TikTok is a grave threat of foreign influence in American life.
With a lot of respect, American social companies don't have a good track record with data privacy and user security. I mean, look at Facebook and Cambridge Analytica.
Madam Chair, my time is up. And if this committee gets its way, TikTok's time is up.
Yeah, they've dragged him up to this congressional hearing and they're peppering him with all the questions and very, very humorous stuff. Just a lack of understanding about how anything works, like Wi-Fi devices.
They
on the
definitely don't know
network.
how to convert a PDF.
And just the most deeply American caricatures of people that you've ever seen. Like when he's like, rename that project. We don't want you in Texas.
Yeah.
It's like watching an SNL sketch. I'm like, is that Bill Hader? Is that Kristen? Like, it's not. They're actual politicians. And this man, like you said, is the most patient human.
Is.
Like, how?
I just want him to stare into the camera like he's on The Office. Just like, what? So I have a conspiracy theory. Okay, because I love conspiracy theories. So I think TikTok it's basically what young people use to share information with each other. And I think I feel like that's part of the reason why they want to shut it down. I've been radicalized so quickly on TikTok. Like, it'll show me something, I get angry about it, and then I deep dive, and it just shows you, like, it'll show you shit around the world that you have no idea about. And out of all the social media channels, I feel like that is actually feeding you a lot of information, and you're absorbing it a lot quicker. And they're talking. The teens are talking to one another.
Teens are talking. And fuck Google. I want some 16-year-old who knows nothing about anything to educate me on a topic.
Exactly.
Please.
And dance when they're doing it.
Dance as they're doing it. Or do their
What's
makeup
happening in
while they're
Iran,
doing it.
you know?
I feel like TikTok is the Nangs of social media. That's my only thing. It actually puts holes in your brain. Love TikTok.
That
love
is
a
such an
scroll.
old person thing to say.
Honestly, it's turning my brain into like 6-second processing snippets, and I just scroll and I just scroll and I just go down this wormhole and hours
You
gone.
are. Or is it stealing your information via Wi-Fi window?
But on that data thing, I will say it's extremely humorous that they've having this hearing and they're trying to ban TikTok over data concerns when there was a thing called the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal, which was literally Facebook data being stolen to manipulate a US election, which it did. And very little got done about that. There were some fines and some slaps on the wrist, but not a big deal. So I'm interested about this whole data argument. Obviously, they're arguing that the Chinese government can take our data at the drop of a hat.
What they're going to get? Oh, she likes Pedro Pascal edits. Like, what? How are they learning anything from that? Like, what would they learn from you if they looked at Josie's TikTok?
That my life is 50% Harry Potter, 50% Harry Styles. That's it. There's nothing else.
There's nothing else.
I have nothing else in my brain.
Yeah.
Well, they'll use that for chemical warfare at some point, I'm sure.
What about, do you have one? Do you have a TikTok?
Yeah, I have TikTok. I use TikTok. I'm an avid user of TikTok, which is why I say how detrimental I think it can be.
What's on
Destroys
yours?
my attention span.
Do we want to know?
Yeah.
It's Bikini Babes dancing, I reckon.
Yeah, essentially. It's like cheerleaders doing like parodies of like Carly Rae Jepsen, Call Me Maybe.
Yeah.
And there's sports highlights.
That's so specific.
So specific, it has to be
stuff
true.
like that. Yeah, so it's pretty much just that, and it just keeps serving it up to me. So I am curious about how the algorithm works. I want to know why that just keeps.
I
keeps
wonder
getting served up to
why.
me. Why don't I get any of these educational videos? Where are they? I don't know. For our next section, Effie Bateman, I am going to need your help with this one because I am not an absolute nerd alert. There's a new Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out this week. I believe you're quite excited about it.
Yes, I am very excited. As a massive D&D fan myself, shout out to my crew, Garda, Thraktor, and Balwinnie. Can't wait to see you soon.
Thraktor Bateman. Is it worth actually just explaining the concept of D&D for people who may not be aware of it?
Yeah,
For people
I can
who
do that.
aren't fucking nerds.
You know
Nerd
what?
alert.
You know what? I'm sorry that you guys don't have this semblance of fun in your life, and that you're definitely buying into that whole, oh, when I'm an adult, I have to be boring and not have any fun childlike activities. Okay, I'm going to go destroy a dragon next week. But basically, the concept... It is so mad.
How do I sign up?
So basically, D&D, you have an ongoing campaign. You have your characters. I am a bard called...
Sorry.
Good for you.
Is a bard like a storyteller?
The bard's the one who plays... So I get to play my ukulele, and my best skill is vicious mockery. So I can destroy
seen it.
enemies by being really mean to them.
That's so on brand
And
for
it's
you.
so
She can.
fun. And I
She
get to
can too.
sing. So you meet every week for a few hours and you go on this quest. You have a dungeon master, sounds a lot sexier than it is, who comes up with a campaign every week. And basically you use a dice and you roll it and you're like, oh, if I roll past a certain number, I can do this. So our favorite thing is I want to piss on someone. And we roll the dice. If you get, above 12,
Oh, wow.
Water sports.
a lot of, Yeah, so that's most of it is just what sort of awful activity can I perform on another character, and then try and slay a dragon as well.
It is a horrifying insight into the way your mind works.
I actually think it sounds really fun.
I'm thinking of starting one in Batuta.
Yeah.
Do you want
Yep,
to?
up for sure. Sign me up. I'm
okay.
there. As long as I don't have to piss on anyone, that's
I
fine.
could see you
I'm
as
not
a
waters.
half orc.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's fair enough. Particularly coming off the footy field, I'll look half orc
yeah.
most of the time.
Also, I find this is very funny because I found out the other week, I saw Wendell canoodling in the corner with other male workmates, and they were all having a massive, bonding session over the characters of their fantasy football team. So I feel like you can't give me any shit.
Yeah.
For at least
Well, I would argue fantasy football is based on real life. I watch those guys go and play each other in the flesh, and then I get points from it. Show me where the local dragon is, or the bard with the ukulele who pisses on people. Where do I find him? Fantasy football is real life, and
So
I manage a team, and I take it
So
seriously.
you come up.
and I'm not ashamed of that.
Basically, you're creating a fantasy about real people. I don't know. That sounds kind of.
What, you reckon that's more creepy?
Yeah, that's creepy.
Fair.
That's
Fair
creepy.
enough. Well, look, it's actually just a way for me to display my tactical genius and understanding of the way sports works. So,
Right, okay.
Look, I'll give you Dungeons and Dragons a go, as long as I don't have to.
Okay,
win
one
anyone.
session. We can do one shot. Do
And
not
I'm
miss
make
your
you a
chance.
fantasy football team, and let's see how you go.
What if I do better than you?
Well, you probably would. Actually.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way these things work, which is very, very frustrating. You won the tipping comp a couple of years ago, and I don't think you watched a single game.
Nope. Not at all.
So,
This week, Batuta reported local wife left disappointed as the husband actually meant Dungeons and Dragons when he suggested role playing. That's a little bit of a naughty headline.
Oh,
right.
a sexy one.
That's a sexy one.
and look, I can see where it comes from after your explanation of your Dungeons and Dragons character. Yeah, the movie's coming out. I was quite confused by the trailer. I got to be completely honest.
Look, I have to say I have no idea what happened in the trailer, but they got me. And you know how they got me?
Chris Pine, isn't
Chris
it?
Pine, Regé-Jean Page, who are all the sexiest people in the world.
Yeah.
And then Led Zeppelin's horniest song, Whole Lotta Love. Like, they knew what they were doing with that trailer. They're hooking in all the people who aren't absolute nerds to go and watch this movie. And I loved it.
And did it work?
I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's about. There was no pissing. There was no dice. Was there even a dragon? I don't know. But I'm into it.
Here's a tip.
Okay.
If you need to name a Dungeons and Dragons character, medication names are the best.
Right.
So mine is, I've used Effexor and Remron. You could use Lustral, Favarin, Sildenafil, Hypnol. That's a good one. But does that not sound like a Dungeons and Dragons name? So just when you go home, open
Sounds
up your
like
bedroom.
You end up in a fucking dungeon. That's what it sounds like.
But look in your top drawer, look at all the medication you're on, and find a name, and that will be your character.
Cool. I'm going to go with ibuprofen. And now we get to our top story today. We're at the pointy end of the show. Harry Styles has broken millions of hearts this week. Not because he's off the market, but because it turns out he's pretty shit at smooching.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a roller coaster with Harry lately. We had him giving us the ick with his Grammy speech about a month ago. Then we had him touring Australia, which unicked him. And now we've been re-icked because he's done this shocking PDA with model turned author turned podcast host turned kind of feminist icon, Emily Ratajkowski. Two of the hottest people in the world, I think we can agree. We originally reported this as Harry Styles and Emily Ratajkowski papped swapping tongues in Tokyo and love truly was on tour. Look, usually I'd be wildly jealous that Harry Styles was spotted macking on with anyone that's not me, but like I wasn't because the footage is just... It's actually horrific. Like I actually got war flashbacks of being in year 9 and like leaving the school disco after half a bottle of Passion Pop to make out with Robbie from my English class.
Yeah.
Just really clumsily with just
Why
hands
were you
kind of
leaving
everywhere.
the school disco to do that?
To go around the back so the teacher didn't give you
you
detention.
didn't just hook up in...
No, you got in trouble. I don't know what school you went to.
Yeah, just the local public school. It was
Oh,
on.
mate.
Teachers just minding their own business. They let you roll.
It's giving Kath and Kel, like...
Yeah, but then there's a definite like tongue action and it's actually so disgusting.
He doesn't look like a good kisser.
No, he doesn't.
He really doesn't.
So we've been re-icked. It's happened.
You don't think it's kind of nice for them to just look a little bit normal? You know what I mean? Like they live these incredible lives.
No, because they're
It
not
destroys
normal.
the fantasy.
Look at them. They're gorgeous.
Yeah. So it's just nice to see gorgeous people hook up like 14-year-olds either outside the dance or inside the dance.
No, I
depending
think I
upon
just
which
want
school you
to
go to.
have this image of them in my head, just having really hot, amazing, private kissing and sex sessions. I don't
There you
need to
go.
see it.
I think it shatters the illusion.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, a lot of people think of Harry as this sex god.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see these god-awful photos of him doing a washing machine in Emrata's mouth. And you're like, oh, yeah, maybe not.
Celebs, they're just like us.
They're just like us.
in 2003.
I know this is really dumb and can be said for the majority of male celebrities, but I always get a little bit disappointed when somebody always dates super hot people. Like I want them to like show some depth, maybe date an uggo.
Maybe just like your everyday, Sydney-based MILF.
Yeah.
My number is 0422. So before we wrap up, guys, I'm dying to know what you're obsessed with this week.
Well, Ted Lasso is back and I am loving it. Season 3 has just dropped on Apple TV, a reason for me to fire it back up after a little siesta, a little sabbatical, because my favourite mustache man from Kansas City is back on the TV screen, Ted Lasso. I don't think you've seen it.
No.
Basically, it's a football coach, an American football coach from the United States, Kansas, comes over, takes over an English football team as their coach. Doesn't really know
Entirely
anything.
different sport.
Yeah.
Oh,
completely-
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
So it's like completely different sport. He doesn't really know anything, but he's just a feel-good guy with great vibes.
Yeah.
And it's come back for season 3, and I was nervous because I watched the first 2 seasons in lockdown.
Yes.
And so I was worried, is this feel-good show so fluffy and enjoyable because I need it right now because
Yeah.
I'm stuck at home here in Batuta? Or is it actually just funny and good value and uplifting? And I reckon it is good value and uplifting. Season 3 is making me feel good.
Oh, good.
I've been saving them for Sunday nights. It's a really nice thing to do on a Sunday night and just go, I can go to bed all warm and fuzzy. It's back. The storylines are all there. Ted's got the cracking jokes, the one-liners, all that sort of stuff. Bit of character development as well. It's just really good. I'm enjoying it and I'm feeling good, and it's something nice to look forward to that I don't have to be on the edge of my seat for, 50 minutes for.
Because there's a lot of the shows that are popular at the moment are pretty fucked up.
Yes, and this is the opposite of fucked up. But it deals with mental health and emotions and relationships in a really interesting way, which I actually think is quite cool. You're a Ted Lasso gal, aren't you, Josie?
Yeah, I'm a Ted stan, but I'm ashamed to say I haven't started season 3 yet.
Disgraceful.
Part of me is saving it because it's the final season.
Yep, gotcha.
Part of me is obsessed with my other favourite sports-themed comedy drama, which is Netflix's Drive to Survive. Have you guys watched Drive to Survive?
No, I have done a little bit of research about it because I was starting to get a little bit into F1, especially because there's so much drama going on in F1.
So much.
And I know that Oscar Piastri, or Oscar Pastry, as my phone likes to autocorrect to, doesn't have some fans because they prefer Daniel Ricciardo, who was season 1 of Drive to Survive.
Well, look, Daniel Ricciardo is season 1, episode 1. The whole series opens with Daniel Ricciardo. So
Yeah.
it's like you can't not
And
love
he's a
him
handsome
or
guy.
the show. He's
Yeah.
gorgeous. He's Aussie. He drops a C-bomb on the show. He's
Marry
amazing.
me.
But he features in every season. Like the seasons follow each season of the Formula One. So this season is season 5 and it's all about last year, which as we know was like high drama. Mercedes just having an epic fail after like narrowly missing out winning like the big prize the year before. But for me, it's all about Christian Horner. He is this short little man. He is a better villain than Nate on Ted Lasso. maybe even shorter than Nate on Ted Lasso. He's
Sure
married
Kings.
to Ginger Spice.
What?
Yes, so she features sometimes, and he is a messy little bitch that lives for drama, and I love him. He is
Are
the
we
principal
thinking
of Red Bull.
Napoleon syndrome?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm going to F1. I know that you guys are.
Yeah.
If I see him, I will vault over a fucking fence.
It's on site. It's fucking on
just
site.
to get a photo with him. He is my hero. He's awful.
I thought you wanted to fight him.
No, I love him. He's awful, and he is what makes the show so good.
So you're all caught up ahead of the weekend?
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Drive to
I
Survive.
might get onto it actually.
Lights
Get around
out,
it.
and away we go, as they say.
Well, that is it. That's all we've got for you this week from the world of entertainment news. Wrapping up the show. One and done.
But Josie, would it be okay if you gave Wendell and I a lift to the airport?
I can't. Sorry, I'm busy working on my Harry Potter fanfic. So
I don't want to be around you when you're doing
As
that.
long as you
Maybe
add
we'll get an
Lucius,
Uber.
I'm all right with that.
Thank you for listening and join us next week on the Show Off.